Good evening, Dangerlings, and welcome. It's Wednesday, so that means it's time to get dangerous. I'm your host, as usual, James Foxy Lockhart, and with me, as ever, the unstoppable, the ever so shiny Dungeon Master.
Hello, everyone. I've just realised I'm sort of threateningly holding your bad moon. I literally fiddling in the dice box.
Just sort of threateningly holding that. Then that's great.
Yeah.
Very good. And of course we have joining us here. We have Ross.
All right, mate. Try and remember my name.
Well,
hello.
No, I was going to give you some sort of preamble, some sort of big up. What are you doing? The ever so Christmassy, the glittering and covered in jingle smells. Ross Harmston.
I mean, I'm always covered in smells, but they are jingly today. Yeah, I've got my Christmas jumper on.
Yeah,
we're getting to that season, so I thought I'd put my Thanos Christmas jumper complete with Infinity Gauntlet.
Ooh,
that's
I don't
amazing.
know if you can't really see that. Yeah, there you go.
Very nice.
That looks so good.
Yeah,
Check
it's
out
pretty cool.
that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Well, Christmas come early. It is still November, but not for the
Yeah,
Danger
but
Club.
you celebrate early, you know.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, to be honest, Candice was wearing her Christmas PJs, some Star Wars Christmas pajamas, so everyone's getting on the action. Yeah, no, I like it. And how we doing? How we feeling?
Go on, Dan.
I've gone out of sync. Hang on. I'm annoyed that I didn't start celebrating Christmas back in July because there's no one who could have stopped us this year. Like, it could have been Christmas since the beginning of lockdown, and there would have been no one who could have stood in our way.
Yes,
True.
absolutely. That's odd. Right, well, I'm coming up as myself, but we are on the right profile for the Danger Club podcast.
We are. I've had the alert come up, so we are on there.
Yes, how strange. Well, when I tapped in myself, I came up as myself, as Foxy Lockhart, so on the chat. So if you are there, Dangerlings, and you can hear us, do let us know and keep me out of my misery, because nobody said hello yet. So hopefully things should be all right. We are we streaming on the Twitch channel? Let me have a quick check. Apologies to everyone watching. Yeah, we're live and we're on there. So hey, I guess we're just all alone.
This is the joy of being a Patreon subscriber: is that you will get to listen to the audio version of this without this bit in it.
Hey, there we go. Candice and Steph have come on board and say, yeah, it's okay, we can hear you. Thank you very much. It panicked me. Do you know what? I get so used to people jumping on straight away and saying hello these days. I actually got a little bit nervous and I was like, oh no, I thought I'd put these days behind me. But no, I am vilified. We are here and we are live. Now we've got that out of the way. How are we doing, guys? You all right? You're looking very sparkly, Dan.
Thank you. Yeah, mostly because it's quite cold in here, so I reached for the nearest warm thing, and that was this because I'm me.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. It's been a fun week. I've been prepping all sorts of bits and bobs for what we're doing. We have a really good episode of Danger Recall out this week. One that I really like, the one we recorded in the studio with all of us together. I think it's the only one we've done with the entire cast. Which is a really fun one, and it's got me back in the mood for when we get back in the studio and make episodes again, because it'd be really fun. So it's a fun and quite weirdly focused Danger Recall, because Colin keeps us on track for that, to go with the week when we have our least focused main show episode of all time, I think.
Oh yeah,
the longest preamble.
Yeah, I mean, Colin is very good at cracking the whip, and I think he's enjoying Danger Recall because he really can crack that whip. So unlike the main podcast, it's very much his baby. So now we're loving Danger Recall. And what about you, Ross? How you doing?
Good. I've been furiously planning a game of D&D for my friend's birthday on Saturday, which has got 17 players in it.
Whoa, hold on. How many players?
17 players.
17 players. Is this a charity game? Are you going for a world record? Are you
No.
are you insane?
Definitely not. Well, the last, yes, clearly. I agreed. My mate was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about doing a D&D game for my wife's birthday. Can you run one?" And then he said, "What's your limit of how many people can play D&D?" I really said, which I shouldn't have done. I was like, "Well, there's not really a limit because there isn't." Like, you can have a game of 9 people. So then he came back and went, yeah, so there's 17 people in her family that want to play. I was like, okay. So then now I've had to like split it into households. So each household is a player. So there's 9 players, which is still a lot, but it's going to be managed like that. So I'm going to have each Zoom as a player basically, and they in respects to the world, they're all like a household. They're visiting this place as a household. They're all a bard. They're a family of bards.
A family of bards.
It's done that way. So I was doing that, and I've also been reading up on the Alien RPG, and that's just RPGing, reading furiously over the week, and that's about it really.
So I think what we've learned then is that when somebody asks you if you've got a limit, you say 6.
You
do not
definitely
say there's not really a limit. The rulebook doesn't say there's a limit. It's like, never do that. Candice has said, and you were complaining about Alien having 8. Yes. I mean, at least the thing is with the Alien though, which I'm really super looking forward to. He's running. What are you doing for us, Ross?
I am running an Alien RPG by Free League. They have done things. I can't remember what their other system. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's called Alien RPG, and I'm running that for Candice's birthday. And we are going to do a scenario from the book from that.
Terrific.
So I'm running it for some of the Danger Club and also some other people as well.
Can't wait for that.
I can remember when we bought that RPG, or when you bought that RPG at Dragon Meet last year, and we went to we were at the publisher's desk and asking about the Alien one, and they were like, "Oh this is the Alien one, and this is our other RPG." And they were like, this is our other RPG, which is our own system and our own setting that we've kind of created. And it's a bit of a shame really, because we put all of our energy into this RPG, and that we really love this thing, and we got the Alien one and we really like that, but everyone's only interested in buying the Alien one now because that's the famous one, and it's a shame. We really want people to try out the other one as well. And Ross is like, cool, so I can just get the Alien one.
I remember what the other books they've done is called Mutant Year Zero and Forbidden Lands as well.
Right.
So
I think that's always going to be the curse if you do manage to land such an awesome thing, which I'm sure they've certainly made quite a bit of money out of. That is the mother of all shadows right there. It's basically like just doing something.
They had lucked in with that IP, I think, with their RPG. That has brought a lot of people talk about it, and it's very well received. So Free League have got in there with that IP, which is good.
Well, hopefully the money they make from the what sounds like an excellent Alien RPG, we can give you a bit of a review after we've played it, will allow them to expand their own stuff. So maybe, hopefully, good things to come from them. And what they call, Ross?
They are Free League.
League. So there we go. Well, this is
always good to see British companies with big IPs. That's always nice.
Yeah, absolutely. We are still a hotbed of gaming. Now, speaking of hotbeds and gaming, we've got some Danger Club news. So, who wants to give me the Danger News stinger?
I can.
Wow. Okay, Ross. Do you want to? I mean, you're the guest, so I don't want to put you on the spot. But here is Ross with the Danger News stinger. Take it away, Ross.
Danger news. Danger news.
There we go. And that was presumably to the tune of Cherry Bomb as well. That's what was going on in my mind.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Danger news. Right. So thanks for that. That was excellent. So Dan, have we got any news today?
I'm intimidated after you describing it as a hotbed, and then that's the theme.
I know. I don't know. It just I open my mouth, and my consciousness comes out.
Let's get to it. Let's jump into that hotbed and let's root around in the covers for some hot news.
Absolutely, I want hot news. And while you're doing it, I'm going to go. So just talk down. It's fine.
There's not loads of news this week. It's a bit of a quiet week. News-wise, but that's fine because we've got a big review coming up, which is what most of the show is going to be about. We've got a couple of bits. There's lots of stuff about Otari going around on Paizo blog at the moment. So Otari is the setting for the Pathfinder Beginner's Box, which is what we are going to be talking about today on the show. but it's also the setting for a whole spin-off product line. Basically, there's going to be a load of stuff set in Otari. It's a city just outside Absalom. It's on the Isle of Kortos, but it's I don't know if it's appeared anywhere else. People who know more about Galarian than I do will be able to say if it's ever popped up in lore before. It's probably just been like a marker on a map, but they've fleshed it out. So there's going to be loads of adventures set in it, and to support this, they've been bringing out little extra bits to go on it. And so they've brought out us an article about something called the Dawnflower Library, which is a library dedicated to Serenray, which Ross will know all about, having played a cleric of Serenray in the past. Loads of reading.
I definitely did loads of research on Serenray. I would hand out pamphlets as my character. The irony was that I didn't know anything about Serenray or how you spell it.
You had no religion score, did you? So it was kind of like, it would be like, okay, don't do the reading out of character, and when you want to give out a pamphlet, write it down yourself, and what you give.
Some people say Serenray, isn't it? And some people say Serenray.
Serenray.
Serenray was the name of Alakar's Gen Con character, Serenray, which was a knight. I was like, that's brilliant.
That's very good. He's a talented fellow, that Chris. So yeah, this all sounds very good. The Dawnflower Library. How charming.
So basically, it tells you a bit about the library, what it is, some of the NPCs you might meet there, and it gives you a load of downtime activities that you can do. Now, downtime activities are something we don't do on the show because they don't really fit into the way that we play. But kind of the most gamified version of second edition Pathfinder has sort of 3 modes in it. You have encounter mode where you're rolling initiative. You have exploration mode where you're exploring the dungeon and seeking traps and things like that. And you have downtime mode, which is what happens when you go back to the city. And it's a mechanic for a bit like in old sort of Warhammer Quest or things like that, where you would go back to the city and that time would be represented by kind of you doing a few skill checks and crafting magic items and roll on this table and see if something funny happens. And it's that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it lets you just go through that bit and then go back to the dungeon and do the next adventure. And that's not how we play, of course, because kind of when we go back to the city, for a lot of us, that's where the story starts, because we get to go and order breakfast and we want to role play out all of those bits.
Love breakfast.
But if you want to play it kind of just as a game and just play the dungeons and have something that you can use to earn money while you're back in town, then that's what downtime activities can be used for. And so it's nice to see the range of those getting expanded a bit. I quite like them as inspirations, actually, because we wouldn't use them mechanically, but I quite like knowing that there's rules in here of how you could go and get a job as a librarian and reshelve books, and how much and what discount that gets you on magical scrolls with the library if you then want to buy magic items. So you could kind of spend your downtime shelving books and then get a discount on your spells at the end of it.
I think one of the most crucial things for role playing for me is the pension plan. And does it cover dental? These are important things for an adventure.
How many holidays you get off a year and stuff? Yeah.
But I like, even though it's one of those rules that I'd never use it out of the box in a game because I'm just like that's not super fun. But I like minutiae in role playing settings. I like knowing how really boring stuff works because that's the kind of flavors and little bits of detail that you can use to make the world really feel alive. Mm-hmm. So I quite like the idea that there is, as an inspiration, that there is a library and that a player could get a job and have to reshelve a load of books and maybe they get something at the end of it. I was like, there's some seeds in there. That could be, you could come up with a fun bookshelving task for a player. Things like that. So I guess it's just kind of a if you like downtime activities, it's there for you.
Yeah, and I was thinking you could wind that into the overall narrative, so something happens, and then you could actually go to the library, and they'd be like, "Oh, hello, Georgie, how's it going?" And they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not here for work. Actually, I need to find a scroll and da da da." You know, you could use it as a bit of the main plot.
We've had, we've had a campaign. Our Danger Club campaign, a librarian was a key NPC for most of the campaign. Because you have recruited her while trying to do some research. It's one of adventurers end up in libraries all the time. We're we're doing that a little bit on the main show at the moment. There's sort of searching for a library, and so it's kind of it is a trope. And so anything that adds little bits of things, have been like, just throw some of that in there in your world. I love that, little extra details that you can pepper in. So it's worth having a little flick through that article, even if you don't use the downtime system, I think, for something like that.
Absolutely. And hi, Greg. Nice to see you. So glad you could make it. Ross, what do you think Fulton's downtime job would be? What would he get up to on his downtime?
I think drinking, probably. Either drinking or pig wrestling. Pig wrestling, probably.
Pig wrestling or drinking.
Yeah.
Sounds like a classic weekend to me. I don't know about you guys.
Or smithing, I think. I think he'd
There we go.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd throw something at least vaguely wholesome in there. But no, he's just going to get drunk and wrestle pigs.
Also smithing.
And Greg says, and shoe cheese? Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I think.
Of course.
Do you think he'd settle down one day and open a little charcuterie, Fulton charcuterie, just selling shoe cheese?
And I think,
meat?
I think he would try and develop new flavors, new pocket meats, and
beyond like sweat and lint, which are your two flavors at the moment.
Yeah, and maybe he'd branch out to different types of meat. Not just pockets, you could, put it in cupboard meat.
Cupboard meat. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I should have cut you off, but I was just enjoying you watching you struggle to think of other receptacles other than your pockets.
We should say, can you see the great the Simonstrous art of Fulton that's behind Ross? Is that on the stream?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
It'd be very tiny.
I love that. And the thing I never noticed about it, because we've had this art from Simon since really early in the show, and then this is the more recent one that Simon's redone. And there's links to him all over our social media. He's an amazing artist. But he, the one thing I had noticed for ages until he did this redraw and it was darker on the armor, is that there is pocket meat falling out of Fulton's pocket.
There is.
And shoe cheese as well.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, he's done both.
Amazing.
Monstrous.
Amazing. They are fundamental elements of his personality, and of course his bent axe.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, of course. Tremendous. Oh, I see. Well, this is all very interesting. Got a bit of downtime.
What would Velda's be? What would Velda's be?
Velda, he would probably. I could see him running a bookshop. He'd be a bit like Black Books, to be honest, which is a British comedy series. He's just a bit grumpy, closing the shop when he felt like it, sort of like, right, that's it, get everyone out, that kind of thing. I think very cluttered.
Not many patrons to your bookshop.
Well, it would depend, I suppose, but they probably come in and buy exactly the books and tomes and scrolls that he wouldn't have bought, and therefore he'd sell them in a very disparaging way, like a sort of grumpy comic book owner. Just sort of like, oh, you want that, dude? Fine. Minor restoration.
I'd love to do a spin-off one of the Danger Club having their day jobs, like after they've left, if they hadn't become adventurers, what they would be doing with their day job. I think they would be wonderful, apart from Shania's one, which would be horrific and terrifying.
Yeah, I don't think she'd ever stop, would she? She'd be off. She'd just come busting into whatever shops we'd opened, and we'd be old, and she'd be like, "Quickly, you've got to get your," and we're like, but I'm old now. Just go away. I'm trying to sell. No, come on.
Oh my god, Shania trying to get the band back together, and she hasn't aged. She's a drow, and everyone else is just really old and trying to pick themselves up.
Just trying to get off. That'd be a great little, maybe a Christmas special or something with, maybe she could be the Scrooge character, and we could retell A Christmas Carol, having all the other characters as parts of it.
Don't do this. You know our recording schedule. Don't start throwing extra ideas in.
But it's a great idea.
Gonna kill us.
Sorry. I'm an ideas man. So good. Well, any other items of news?
Just a little one. We've had all the review copies through for the November releases for all of the different pies and things. There was a bit delayed getting them out to websites and blogs and podcasts. That's what we are. It took me 3 goes to remember what we do. But we got them all, and we've got stuff like the new Agents of Edgewatch book. We've got the beginner box that we're going to do today. We've got the bestiary cards, or the digital versions, and we've got the first book of Fly Free or Die, the Firefly adventure path, as it's been called, or I heard it described as the Eat the Rich adventure path, the kind of working class heroes Starfinder one. So if if you want to hear any of them reviewed on the show, give us a shout and we will try to make time to do it. We've got a few things booked in for the next few weeks, but we will try and get some of those covered on the show if we can, if you want to hear about them.
Yes,
I
indeed.
haven't had a chance to open up Fly Free or Die yet, but it's the one I've been quite excited about. So if any of the Dangerlings are playing it yet, I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yes.
Because I think that could be a really fun one.
That's basically the Firefly does Starfinder kind of one, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And we've had official confirmation from Paizo. It kind of got leaked in an interview that someone did a couple of weeks ago, but then they've sort of announced it now, that there is going to be basically Kingmaker in space is the next Starfinder
Kingmaker
part.
in space. Sorry, I had to do that.
It's going to be the one after this. So you're going to be going out to an uninhabited system, because they've learned from these slightly icky colonial issues with Kingmaker itself. You're going to a system when there is nobody, not just people who are bad, and you're going to try and settle these worlds, but there will be other corporations trying to settle the worlds at the same time that you'll be in competition with. So that it's the thing that apparently Paizo have had meetings about this basically since Starfighter came out. It's been one of the topics of every staff meeting of how do we do Kingmaker in space, because everyone wants to do that.
Yeah.
So they finally worked out how to do it, and that's going to be coming out next year. So that'll be fun. Get to go.
Indeed it will. Indeed it will. And I've got a bit of exciting news as well. Eriki Wazaki, it is your first Dangerous Wednesday. Hello and welcome to Dangerous Wednesday. They had to install and sign up for Twitch. See what the DC payment makes them do. It's true. Thank you so much for your efforts. Hopefully they'll be amply rewarded by Mears looking at Dan's jacket. Look at that jacket. Oh,
and a song, Eric, his name is Eric.
Well,
He's got a face his name is Eric. Yes,
Good.
That's his name. His name is Eric.
Good. And there we go. An original song. I hope that your name is Eric. Otherwise, just you can take that and maybe give it to a friend who's called Eric instead.
Yeah, make sure you record it and then you can put it as a ringtone.
Yeah, I'm sure that they'd want that as a ringtone. That would be great. So, see, this is what you get for hopefully your Twitch login was worth it. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. And so we mentioned it a couple of times. We are looking at the Beginner's Box. Is it? What is it?
It is the Pathfinder Beginner's Box.
The Pathfinder Beginner's Box, which is designed to help get people into Pathfinder and explain things in a simplified way, I imagine, isn't it, Ross? Dan?
It is, yes.
Ross.
So the whole point of second edition, really, over first edition, is to create a game that is easier for new people to start playing. And that mission was really never going to be complete until the arrival of the Beginner Box. The Beginner Boxes, they've done ones for first edition, they've done one for Starfinder, and now they've got one for second edition.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is it's your first thing to get into the game. There's one for 5e as well. I bought it for my nephew.
I think it's a fairly common.
It's basically a way to, because you got to start somewhere, and it can be intimidating to buy that many books. So this is a way for you to a fairly inexpensive way. I would imagine it's a loss leader because you get a lot in it for not much money. But it's a way for you to just have something you can start playing Pathfinder straight away. So I've been really interested to see what this will include, because I love anything that will get new people into playing the game.
Absolutely.
So I thought we'd bust it open and have a look. Now, the key thing that we have that I'm going to sell this as if it's a brand new thing. The thing we're going to do, which other places may not do, is that we're going to be reviewing the digital edition of the Beginner's Box. And that is because we're different and edgy, and also because we're in the UK and Paizo can't afford to ship us a free copy all the way from Seattle. So we got the PDFs. But it is interesting because it's a box. It's quite interesting to look at what you get in a digital version of a box, and whether, because the digital version is really cheap. So it's a case of we can have a look at whether we think that is worth it over the physical copy. To give you an idea of kind of costs, the physical box is going to cost you about $30 plus shipping. A Annoyingly, if you're in the UK, it is going to cost you about £30 plus shipping, because that's how they work out exchange rates over in the UK. They just copy the number rather than working out what it should actually cost.
Do you know, I found
it's
this
a bit more expensive here.
A very common thing, and it seems to be the now the normal over everything. I've looked at applications you can buy and all this sort of stuff, and it's like, oh, you in the UK? It's just the same in pounds. You're like, oh, thanks very much for that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind. What else is there, Dan?
Well, so the digital version is it's currently about $12 from Paizo,
right.
and you can obviously no shipping, obviously, because it's digital. So it is quite a lot less than that. So it's sort of worth having a look, I think, at the digital version and seeing if you don't want to shell out for the whole box. What do you get? What don't you get in the digital version that you would get in the physical one? And you get quite a lot in this box. Before we kind of dive into it, what sort of things would you want from a beginner's box as sort of people teaching a game, people learning a game? What do you think should be in a box like this?
Well, I can tell you right now. I mean, you know what I'm going to say. What's particularly caught my eye that you drew attention to that that would get me playing this game, and in fact is a good intro into role playing in general, and that's a choose your own adventure. Oh yeah, baby. Now this is Dan's idea. Actually, I'm not going to steal this one, because he had a look at the box. He was like, "Oh, there's a choose your own adventure bit. Do you?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." So, are you two ready to have a little mini adventure?
Oh my goodness, let's do this. So, do you want me to set up what this is, just in terms of because when you open the box, you get there's like a sheet right on the top of it, and it's a separate PDF file if you get the digital version, but it basically says, what do you want to do? Are you on your own right now and you just want to play something? Well, we've got something. We've got a solo adventure that you can play. Open page 1 and it's going to be there. Mm-hmm. And then it's got, do you want to create a character? Here's where you go for that. Here's the book for that. Do you want to just start playing? Here's some pre-generated character sheets. Are you interested in GMing? Here's a GM book. So it signposts you where to go straight away. But yes, the first thing, and it's like the first page of the Hero's Handbook, you open it up and it's just like, off you go. Here's an adventure you can play by yourself that will teach this game. And that is what we're going to try and play right now.
Oh, yeah, baby. Now, don't adjust your sets. It's not Tuesday night. It is not Fighting Fantasy Tuesday over on my channel. It is instead the Danger Club plays a little tiny choose your own adventure. So, picture the scene. You are a wandering adventurer visiting Otari, a small town on the coast of the Starstone Isle, an enormous island magically raised out of the ocean by an ancient god. Otari is renowned for its lumber and fine wooden boats, which was a weird thing for a god-made island to be renowned for. You think it'd be something more interesting, but no, wood. But that's not what brought you here. No. You came looking for adventure. Word has it that a vicious beast is preying upon the town's livestock, and the mayor has offered 10 gold coins to any hero who can put an end to the menace. That kind of money would pay your expenses for a month. Yeah, well, these are Witcher kind of for rates, I think.
It's like 100, isn't it? It's like 100 gold pieces in
old money, yeah.
In old money, yeah, absolutely.
Level 1. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I suppose, yeah, level 1, you've got to take what you've got. After asking around at a nearby tavern called the Crow's Casks, you learn that most of the attacks occur on the west side of town, not far from the shore. That seems like the best place to start your search. You gather up your belongings and make your way out along the rocky beach to begin your hunt. It doesn't take long for you to find an entrance to a dark and mysterious cave. Large paw prints lead to and from the gloomy opening. Ooh, I've got to go to the entry now. Here we go. Yeah.
Can you imagine how short our show would be if I just railroaded you guys to the quests like this? We'd cut out so much about like this. What we've just been through there would be 15 episodes of the Danger Club podcast.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We'd still be in the tavern, just drinking.
Oh, yeah, and we'd have already tried to barter
We'd be looking
about the
for
price.
some of that famous lumber.
Yeah.
What's so famous about it?
Tell me now. Noticing the tracks leading to the cave, you hide in a nearby underbrush, hoping to ambush whatever foul beast lives here. After just a few minutes, you hear the sounds of something approaching, and the scent of wet fur hangs heavy in the air. Emerging from the bushes is a lean, mangy wolf carrying the body of a dead chicken in its maw. It appears to be returning home after its most recent hunt. Clearly, this is the beast that's been preying upon the farmer's animals. I mean, it's thin and mangy, so, that's a bit of a leap. You wait until it is near, then draw your short sword and spring out to attack. You are now in combat with a wolf.
Oh my god! This is escalated.
Yep, that's right. You don't get many choices, it seems, at this bit. Okay, so now this is exciting because I get to be a DM. So, has one of you got a D20?
Dan has a
I got all that
D20.
right here.
Now, just to explain to all of those people watching, I'm not going to read everything that it does because otherwise literally the rest of the stream will be just us playing this little choose your own adventure. But it is basically explaining the rules to Pathfinder in simplified form. So in this combat, you're fighting this mangy wolf and you have 3 actions. However, it pretty much just sort of, you can strike with your short sword or you can hide in the bushes. What are you going to do?
I'm so excited.
Billy! I didn't know. Billy!
Billy?
Yeah, that's. I'm role playing. I'm doing what the thing. Dan is the other character that me and him. Yeah, you're Billy, and I'm Willy. Billy.
Willy. What? Didn't see you in the bushes there.
Yeah, sorry, I was just hiding in the. Let's go kill this thing. Let's attack it.
I was thinking we should hide in the bushes. Should we kill the wolf or hide in the bushes?
I think we should kill it. I mean, we're already in combat with it, aren't we?
It would be quite weird to hide in the bushes at this stage, to be honest. I think he's onto us.
Don't worry, this is adventure.
Right.
Then we kill the wolf.
So, that is very good. Well done, Billy and Willy. Doesn't say that in the book, guys, but never mind. I shall let it slide. I suppose this is about role playing. I'm a bit not familiar with this particular format. So, in terms of this, so you've got 3 actions. So, hitting with the short sword will be an action, and hiding in the bushes will increase your AC to 20 until the start of your next turn. Apparently, Billy has an AC of 18, and you have 20 hit points. So. You could say, for instance, strike twice with your short sword and then hide in the bushes. Proper Billy and Willy style.
Oh, that's the famous Billy Willy maneuver, isn't it?
Yeah.
Double strike and hide in the bushes.
And basically, 1 strike from Billy, 1 strike from Willy, and you've got to shout your name when you do it, of course, because it's like, the Billy, Willy, and then you hide in the bushes. Done.
Easy.
Easy. Right, so would you roll a D20?
First action. Billy! That's an 11.
It's an 11. Okay, so we're going to add you get +7 to this. So that's a hit. Oh, yeah. Roll 1d6 plus 4.
Have it. All right. Go for free RPG day die. That is going to be a 7. 7 points of damage on that wolf.
Very well. Now, Willy, do you want to strike with your short sword?
Willy is now going to hide in the bushes. Immediately instead of he sees Billy, he goes, oh, and then just Willy's gonna hide. Oh.
All right, so you're hiding your Willy in the bushes. Good. So Willy hides in the bushes. Billy, you turn around and find that your erstwhile ally has hidden in the bush. What are you going to do?
Betrayal! Can I strike Willy? Is that in the context of the game?
You can't because he's in the bush.
Is there any PvP in this solo adventure?
You're in the bush and you're worried because it looks a bit like poison ivy and you don't want to get poison ivied. So you don't want to do that. So what would you do?
I knew we'd get James to GM for us.
I know, right? This is my introduction to GMing. Oh, Billy and Willy. Right, there we go.
Do it.
I mean, we
what
could.
do you want to see? Have I got another?
I'll tell you what. Yeah, you can. You go on. You can strike Willy if you want.
All right. That's a 4.
Oh, that's a 4. You get a +7. However, he's got the same AC as you have, which is 18. So that is not going to work. Hey, Matt, thank you for joining us here. We're playing some epic, high-quality RPGing right now. So here we go. The wolf leaps forward and tries to attack.
Oh, no.
On the first roll, it gets a 20, so it does do some damage. So it leaps on the undefended Billy as it can't see Willy because he's hiding in the bush. Let's see how much damage it did. It did 6 points of damage. So you've got 14 points of hit points left. It does its second attack, which it will get a 2 on. Oh no, I don't add anything to. So that's just a 10. So that is not a hit. And then we're going to subtract 5 because this is Pathfinder rules. So yeah, it doesn't hit you with the second one. So it's nice and easy. And so what are you going to do?
So it teaches you the multiple attack penalty.
It does
this early on, does it?
Indeed.
Nice.
So basically, this has everything you need to give you the idea of how to play Pathfinder. Just quickly, the wolf rears up on its hind legs, and in a voice uncannily like Matt says, "Leggings check."
Haha. Very good. Today we have a very fine pink star number to go with the sparkly jacket. Casual leggings.
The wolf is obviously impressed by your leggings, and decides to let you hit it with a short sword again. So what are you going to do?
Yes. All right. I'm going to take this wolf down because I want to move on a little bit because I've just sensed we're not going to get through this whole adventure.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you. But
that's a 17 on the die.
17 on the die. You lunge forward and you plunge the sword straight through the mouth of the wolf, and it comes sticking out the back just as it's finished saying, "Nice leg." And it flops upon the ground. And somewhere far away you hear the pitiful mewling of what's possibly the cubs who are waiting for that dead chicken, but... Oh, well, never mind. You put it out of your mind. You have slain the mangy wolf that was just trying to feed its family.
That's
well
why it
done.
was thin. It was giving the chicken to its children.
Of course it was. It was so thin because it gave all of its spare food to its children because it was one of the most dedicated wolf mothers that the island had ever known.
Oh, really? How could we?
And it was only because of the deforestation that's happening because of all the lovely wood cutting that's going on the island that's pushed the wolf towards the settlement, which has removed it from its natural habitat. So, yay. But it's okay.
Oh, but if you could see the quality of that wood, James, it is such fine wood.
It is tremendous. It is tremendous wood. Okay, so there, you've killed the thing. Oh, you're inside a small cavern. It stinks of wet fur. There are scraps of rotting meat and bone lying about. A crack in the far wall leads into darkness, and just above it, scratched into stone, is a symbol that looks a lot like a treasure chest. As you draw closer, you realize the crack is actually the entrance to an underground tunnel. It might just be the hiding place of some forgotten treasure. Dun, dun, dun. Oh. And I think at that we shall leave the adventure. What do you think? Because it is. I don't want to spend the rest of this thing playing this adventure.
That's fine. It's nice that it lasts because it's not that long on the actual page, but it's nice that you actually get a bit of.
Hold on, we just got to fit RP the end of it, and
cool.
I just come out of the bushes after seeing Billy kill the wolf, and I go, "Oh, nice work, Billy. Sorry, I left my pack in the bush, so I had to jump in and get it. I left my sword in there, but you did amazing."
Indeed, nice one, brother. And Billy pulls on his mask of Rasmir to show that he had secretly joined the Church of Rasmir before this meeting, and this whole thing was a ploy to get Willie alone on the beach.
Is this an origin story of one of the Church of Rasmir?
For initiative. Now, for those of you who might be a little confused, have just tuned in, aka Matt, we are looking at the beginner's box that Pathfinder have just released. This is the digital version, and really near the start comes a little choose your own adventure. Now, I'm going to try something. So bear
everyone else, then you can do that.
Okay, so no round of applause for me. I didn't get the sound on that presentation page.
Oh, no!
I thought I probably didn't, so everyone has just gone, it's gone very, very quiet. So there we go. A lovely quiet view. I just wanted a moment of peace there so you could really appreciate the artwork of that book, and you could think, yes, how delightful. Yes, I apologise for that. I just realised I hadn't programmed the sound, so no one could hear me. However, what we were just discussing, you didn't miss much, you only missed about 30 seconds, was that it's beautiful artwork. And Dan was about to tell us about this character sheet. So
hey,
what was
man,
the character sheet that you saw? What was
this?
Yeah.
So the character sheets are really interesting. So in the box, you are going to get your 4 iconic level 1 characters. So if you want to just start playing right away, you want to teach some people, you can be like, here's Valoros, that's the fighter. Here's Ezra, and he's the wizard. Here's the cleric. Here's the rogue. And you've got your traditional party, off you go, you can play it. But you've also got blank character sheets, and they are very similar to main ones, but with a couple of differences. You've got a lovely key down the side that gives you, or a lovely quick reference thing down the side that gives you a couple of ideas of things. But it has things like, it's got pictures of the different dice, of what they look like. And one of the nice things, you get a set in the actual physical box, you get a set of polyhedral dice, and they're color coded, so they're all different colors. So rather than having to explain to somebody what a D8 looks like, you can just say, roll the green one, which for people who have never played it's something that seems really obvious for us, but for people who've never played a role-playing game before, that's a really nice thing to just be like, to be able to quickly point out what the dice are. And you've also got you've got like sort of what the action system is, things like that. The thing I really like about the character sheets is that they've done what I wish they'd done with second edition in general, is that they have been brave enough to get rid of ability scores. They just have the modifiers. It kind of...
Oh, good.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's kind of, it was a big thing for the whole history of role-playing. You have a number, and then that number makes a modifier, and that modifier affects your roll. What does the number actually mean? And it's kind of like, it's gradually been sliding backwards in importance, to the point that on, like in 5e character sheets, and in a lot of second edition character sheets, if you get custom ones, it's kind of like the big box is for the modifier, and then you have a little box for what the actual score is. On this, just the modifier. Don't worry about what your actual... Doesn't matter that your score is 12. Your modifier is 1. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I wish they'd done that on the main game, because it's so much simpler. So you get all of that, and you also get some player reference cards in there, which are really nice. I want them. That would be the reason I would probably buy the physical box, is you get these lovely reference cards, which on one side have sort of all the actions that you could take, and it's got some little spaces on it because there's tokens in the box for actions. So as you take your actions, you can put tokens down to show that you've taken your actions, so you keep track of how many actions you got. And it's got all of the main conditions that you would use, like some of the biggest conditions you might be affected by on the back. So you can have your own condition corner right there in front of you. They're really nice references that would be useful even for players who have been playing for a little while. It's just a good reminder of stuff you can do in the game. They're really nice. You get them in the digital version, but you have to print them out yourself rather than actually having them on nice card stock. So that's maybe a point for the physical one. But the nice thing about the Hero's Handbook, which we've been sort of playing here, is that it's got your pre-gen characters, but then it's got rules for making your own characters and playing those. And the really good thing, the thing that makes this a lot better than the first edition Beginner's Box, and to an extent the Starfinder Beginner's Box, is that the characters you can make from this are Pathfinder second edition characters. They are not Beginner's Box characters. So all they've done on this, they haven't taken away any rules. All they've done is just limited your character options. So at level 1, you have 3 ancestors. You can be an elf, a human, or a dwarf. And then the classes, there are 4. You can be one of the 4 classes. Each class has maybe 2 things you pick from at level 1 of your character options. So it just kind of reduces, but it means that you can make a new character in the beginner's box. You can play a tutorial adventure, and then after you've moved on from that, because these go up to level 3, you can play characters up to level 3 with the adventures and stuff are in here. And the game mastery book has enough game mastery stuff. It's like a shortened version of the core rulebook game mastery section. But it has enough stuff there on what GMing is and sort of random traps and treasure and all sorts of bits like that you could quite happily homebrew some content as well as running the stuff that's in there. So you can play these characters up to 3rd level. And if after that point you're like, cool, I understand this game, I like it, now I want more, you can just open the core rulebook, you can buy the core rulebook, open that up at 4th level and just carry on with the same character. And suddenly your character options will balloon. There is a fire alarm going off in my house, which is very exciting. At
Tremendous.
The stage of the review.
This is
I might
fantastic.
mute my microphone and listen to. It stopped. There we go. That was the shortest fire in the history of Ilford. gosh, there will be some edits on this audio podcast.
To be honest, we couldn't hear that, so that
great.
was just one
Yeah.
for you to enjoy.
Oh.
I'm really sorry, everybody, that you can't see this because I haven't programmed the sound on that page that's showing the book, but it really does look great, and it is exactly the kind of Pathfinder book you would come to expect. The artwork, and they've described the characters, the different backgrounds, and I think, am I right in saying that is the core artwork, or is that new artwork?
There is quite a bit. There is some artwork that's taken from other books, but there is also some original artwork.
Yeah.
There's a really good bit of artwork of a priest of Desna with like a butterfly mask. That's really cool. Yeah, so there's a whole load of stuff. And the cover of the Game Mastery Guide is really fun. Just a load of rogues like playing cards, and there's a halfling who's got a bad hand and a goblin just laughing at them from behind his back. It's a lovely bit of art. But it's fun, and I like that. Like I say, the thing that sort of put me off the beginner's box in first edition is that once you've played the beginner's box in first edition, you don't necessarily have a first edition character. It's kind of like, cool, you learned a simple version of this game. Like, it doesn't have attack of opportunity in it. It doesn't have a lot of feats and things in it. You can't, like, there's a lot of things that it just says you can't do that in this version. The Starfinder one is better, but it has things like the Starfinder Beginner's Box doesn't have stamina in it. That's how they make it simpler. They're like, now you're in the main book, now you learn about stamina. Whereas it is the game. It's just the game with slightly fewer character gen options. So it sort of focuses you on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that if this is your very first character and you love this character, you don't hit third level and they're like, oh, well, I can't play that character anymore. You can. That character can then go on and become a bounty hunting lich.
Yeah.
A goblin. I love that. I think that's really fun.
Absolutely. And Ross, do you think this is going to have a positive impact on the sort of the reservoir of players who are attracted to Pathfinder, who maybe were a little bit put off by the sort of maybe somebody in the gaming community saying, oh, it's a bit complicated? Do you think this will have a good effect?
Yeah, I think so. I think the benefit of being able to create a fourth level character, like, and just opening up your options would be really good. I think because, that is the one thing that, may scare some people is like, oh, because, we've genned loads of characters and Path Builder has been a godsend for us. Like when we've been using it to gen characters that we've done for extra content and things like that. Because it is a lengthy process to do it in Pathfinder 2nd edition, but that, there is lots of things to choose from and lots of feats and lots of ancestries and stuff. And I think, limiting that down and is only going to benefit and, bring more people to say, oh, actually, it's not as hard. And then gradually, as they play the game more and more, they can look over when they get to 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. It'll probably bring more people and go, actually, this is simpler than first edition. I think that's it's a benefit, and it will. Well,
I was just going to say, absolutely. It's I think it's a great sort of opinion. And do you think this is something that GMs might have in their toolbox? So if somebody says, "Oh, I'd like to play a game, but I haven't got any idea. I've never played it before," you could actually then present them with the beginner's box and say, "Hey, let's roll up a character using this," and it explains everything in nice, simple terms. Do you think that would be something you'd? I'm just going to go to Ross first.
Yeah. I mean, I'd crack out and I'd say. That's how I did D&D 5e. I used the red box, the beginner's box, because it's the easiest way to learn rules. And I think this would be again an easier way to learn second edition, and get you, especially if you're a GM and you're looking at trying to set up an adventure for some people, and it's an easier way for you to sit in a pub when we can sit in a pub eventually, and all sit around and get it out and show people and talk it through with them, and you won't feel overwhelmed by looking at a massive core rulebook and going, oh my god, there's so much stuff here.
It is pretty intimidating.
And having a smaller version of that, I think it can only benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about you, Dan? Is this going to be? Would this be a feature in your GM toolbox?
I think I may actually get the physical one of this because I love that idea of it being easy to teach people. I think it's a really good tool. I've loved the idea of the previous ones, and they just haven't quite got it. And this one just seems to be about right. I guess the real question for us is, is the digital version worth it if the physical version is there? Because the physical version is a lovely product.
Do you get like maps and like for the
do, yeah.
scenarios that and standees or anything
So-
like that?
Yeah, you get a pawn collection with both of them. Not that kind of pawn.
Do you know what? I resisted, and I'm very proud that even Ross resisted. So well done.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that.
I could feel you. So you get all of the monsters you need for that in either version. One of the nice things in the physical version is you get, because obviously if you've ever bought any of the pawn collections for any of the Pathfinder adventures, you get lovely card standings for it, and you get bases to put them on as well. The bases you get with the box, you get some different coloured ones, which is a really nice touch because it's so easy when you can be like, oh, 3 goblins. All right, it's the one with the blue base is what your spell affects. That's quite easy, nice to point out. So you obviously don't get the stands if it's the digital version, but you get the PDF so you can print them off. You will also get, and obviously, you don't get the dice in the digital version. But you do get flip mats. You get maps either way, so you get loads of maps that you can use. And so you have a whole adventure that takes you through a few levels.
Yeah, and I would say like it's definitely worth it because if you think about, most of us have got printers, and if you can just buy
Elitist. I don't.
If you buy some, thick card, you've got standees that obviously they're not going to be as thick as the standees you get in the physical box, but I've done it before where I've printed off print and play stuff, and it's perfectly fine for what you need as well, especially in this day and age as well. I think that if you can't get a hold of the physical copy, then I think the digital version is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think Paizo definitely deserve credit for releasing the two options as well. So rather than being sort of like, no, it's 30 quid or $30 if you're in the States, or nothing, there is a more cost-effective option for somebody who maybe wants to play it, because also this might well be aimed at younger players and younger GMs. So we all remember what it was like being a sort of early teenager. You didn't have much ready cash, so this is a lovely thing. Like Ross says, you could actually make do.
What do you think, Dan?
And the thing that may swing it as well, that perhaps increases the value, is that there is a version of this for Roll20, which has all of the adventures preloaded into it and rules cards that you can flash up on screen for everybody and tokens and everything like that. That normally costs $39 on its own. But because Roll20, if you link your Roll20 account with your Paizo account, then you can get a discount if you already own a digital product. So it becomes $28 if you buy if you have the thing. So the combined cost, if you buy the digital version from Paizo and then buy the Roll20 version, you end up paying $40, which is only $10 more than buying the physical box. And then you've got a digital version and a version you can use on Roll20. So if digital gaming is what you do, and certainly at the moment, if remote gaming is your thing and you want to be able to teach people Pathfinder without being in the same room as them, then that is quite a cost-effective way to do it. I mean, that's for that much stuff, that is quite a good price. Like I say, I'd be pretty sure they're losing money on this just to kind of get people into the hobby.
Do you mean to say that Billy and Willie could go and find the Pirate King's plunder on Roll20 live?
They could.
God.
They could, and then they can carry on more because after this, they're bringing out a standalone adventure called Troubles in Otari, which goes on, which you can keep playing. I think it picks up at 4th level, so you could finish all the adventures in this, get your characters, get the full rule books, level them up using that, and play this new adventure set in the same town with the same characters but using the full rules. And then later there's the Abomination Vault adventure path is also set in Atari, so then you can play an adventure path using which is like a massive dungeon crawl which comes out next year, using probably not the same characters because you'd be starting from level 1 again, but set in the same town with all the same NPCs that you've already met. So you can have your first kind of couple of years, if you want, depending on how long Abomination Vault goes, of experiences in Pathfinder, all set in this town where you first learned the game. I think that's a really clever way of doing it.
Yeah, that's a really, really clever way, and a lovely sort of, because I think, Ross, you mentioned just how intimidating all this stuff is when you see it. I mean, I'm an old player, and I still get intimidated looking at some of those rule books. Oh, mama, that's a lot of wood. Even more wood than is on the Pirate's Isle.
And that's the reason. That's one of the reasons why I instead was like, because when I decided to DM or GM, I decided to do 5e because it was easier for me to pick up. And if I can find, maybe if this had come out, before, I would have picked Pathfinder 2e to do. It's something that when you're a new GM, you find it overwhelming, like to learn. You look at a core rulebook that size, and you're like, oh my god. And perhaps this will help.
That's an excellent point, and actually something we haven't really mentioned but it seems pretty obvious. But whilst this book, we've talked about character generation for new players and stuff like that, it's also designed for new GMs, because actually sitting in the hot seat, sitting in the big chair, is quite an undertaking and can be quite intimidating. So, yeah, would you say this book would help you sort of overcome that? Is it quite mellow for new GMs?
I think so. Yeah, it gives you little bits, and it gives you lots of lore as well, which you want as a GM. You don't want it gives you a couple of pages of like, here's some traps that you can put in wherever you want. Here's a few magic items you could put in. Here's a few. The bestiary is really nice because they've got very good at doing small monster stat blocks with them doing these bestiary cards, which are like big cards with all your monster stats on. They've put that into there, so now you can get like 2 monsters per page, and it's just a stat block with a nice bit of art of what all the monsters are. So you get like over a dozen monsters in here without taking up too much page space. The whole thing is designed to not be too overwhelming, and be something you can kind of work through together.
Yeah,
it's really well thought out.
Absolutely, yeah. It looks really, really, really good, and sort of very pretty as well. I know it's a small thing, but this counts. Like if you're a young, as Ross said, you're a young player, you're coming to see which system to break out and to try and get your friends to play. Things like that actually count. Lovely pictures and really engrossing art and stuff like that all helps you pick off the shelf. Steph said that the Danger Club was her beginner's box. But actually, she may still get a beginner's box and keep it around for when it's safe to gather again and have a game nights with friends who have not played. Perfect. It's just what we're saying. Greg thinks he might get it as well. And, just a question Greg had. So you can maybe play it with less than the usual GM plus 4 PCs.
Yeah, you probably could. I mean, you could just play the Pirate Treasure again. You play choose your own adventure again.
You could play it with 17 people. I mean, who knows? I mean,
everyone
do it.
Yeah, you could. You could play. Obviously, playing with different numbers of players is trickier. Like the game is designed for 4, so you would have the same sort of same difficulty you would have if you wanted to run that for a regular game for less than the regular players. You still need a GM to run most of it, but yeah, you could do it with fewer characters. I'm sure it wouldn't take a lot of work to balance it.
I wonder if it says anything in the rules about if there is less players, you could reduce the amount of hit points that the enemies have or whatever. I mean, that's pretty much something that the GM could probably do in any way. But yeah, I wonder if that'd be good if it said that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably hints and tips. I'm just having a quick scan through. There is a lot to it. It is not it's not as mighty as the usual core book, of course, but it is 76 pages long, and it does have very usefully as well. I've noticed at the end some nice sort of reference pages. So about dying, about being wounded, about notable traits, and also the quick rules reference. So common roles, bonus and penalty types, cover, things like that. And also about moving on a grid, which I think is really, really nice. So you've got, for your GM and also for your players, you can just quickly, it's at the back of the book, always a good move. And there's some really, really good quick references there. I think it's terrific. It gets a big thumbs up from me. And already, actually, in my mind, I don't know about how you guys are feeling, I was thinking about maybe friends who've said, oh, yeah, we're quite into that or something like that. Could be a good Christmas present.
Definitely. Yeah. It's pretty good. I kind of want to play it. I kind of want to run these adventures for, like, even for experienced players, just to sort of to try it, because it's a good old fashioned dungeon crawl, and you never get to do those sort of later on.
Well, you could do it. Depends on your GM, doesn't it, Dan?
Well,
I love a good dungeon crawl. I like the ones that go on so long, you almost forget what the daylight's like. And then when your party finally leaves, you're like, yay. What about you, Ross? Do you see this you sort of as something you might buy for someone who's shown an interest? Or
Yeah, of course, yeah. Anything RPG I'll buy probably. So it'll be. I think it's definitely worth it. If you're in America, definitely get the physical version. And if you're willing to, pay the shipping, get it for in any other country.
well, you can get the physical version of it, like it's in WH Smith's and places like that here, so you can buy it over here without too much crazy shipping.
Nice. Well,
good
then, yeah.
stuff. Yes, actually, that was another. Greg said once the game shops in the UK start stocking it. So are you saying that WH Smith stock it?
I did a bit of a check. Yes, Smiths have it. A few other places appear to have it. I would assume Amazon have it, but as always, I would never recommend buying gaming stuff from Amazon. But check with your local gaming store, because they may well have copies in already that they can ship to you quickly.
Yeah.
I haven't checked anywhere like Orcs Nest yet, but I'm sure they'll have them in pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stu says maybe this will convince James to GM. Maybe, Stu, maybe. That day might be coming closer and closer. Who knows? After the little dazzling adventure that you saw earlier with Billy and Willie, I'm sure you're all on tenterhooks to finding out what happened to those two. Oh. Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal. Big thumbs up. Well done, Paizo, for encouraging sort of new players. And of course, we mentioned young players. You don't have to be young at all. You could be any age. But we love RPG, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, God, my God, Ross, you literally was like, I love all things RPG. And then when I posed that question, your best was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I think in his Christmas jumper. Give him some slack. He's warm.
I think Ross's batteries are running low, so we might have to call it quits. And unfortunately, it's 3 minutes past 7.
What?
I know what. Thank you so much for joining us here on Dangerous Wednesdays, especially the new Dangerlings who have joined us for the first time. I hope this has given you an idea of how it looks, and you got a really, really brief, silent look at the book, but it does look great. So, any last words from R2? Any last words from you, Ross?
no, nothing from me.
Good.
Nothing.
Splendid. And anything from you? By the way, I asked this question. It's really, you don't have to say anything. But and what about you, Dan?
Tune into next week's show. We have a special guest on, and we're going to be talking about one-shot RPGs. So things that you can play in a single session, like sort of one-page RPGs, things like that, which is very exciting.
Ooh.
So I can't wait for that.
That is very exciting. Excellent. Well, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Do keep your eyes on the TCP. Obviously, everything's dropping all the time. And do join us on our Discord as well, where you can chat about all things geeky and RPG. And if you're particularly interested, you can check me out on my Twitch as well for some musical brunch tomorrow morning. But thank you so much for joining us. So it's goodbye from Ross.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Dan.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.
And it's goodbye from me. So until next week, stay dangerous. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.